Fantastic Four, first steps, first response, first reaction after having just watched this movie at the drive-in theater. And yeah, pretty good movie, I would say. Overall, for what it is, 10 out of 10. Highly stylized comic book universe with the stakes about as high as you would get in a comic based on something that you'd see in a highly, as I said, stylized version of a Stan Lee, Jack Kirby book from the 1960s. That's what they're going for. And it kind of works. They give you all of the images up front ahead of the main story. So you see familiar and iconic frames and framings of these characters. And Reed Richards and Sue Storm and Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm and then Herbie the Robot and the universe, the world, and the connections and the possibilities, including the after credits, music, everything is 10 out of 10. I can say that this does show, again, that you can make a movie that is about as comic book as you can get. You can go a full-blown cartoon. Look at Tim Burton's Batman. And then also, you might have The Phantom with Billy Zane. But this one is pretty good. You get to see Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. It's not just about that his arms can stretch or that he can stretch. But they give you that. They show you all of that. All of it. It's great Human Torch, great special effects, as well as character portrayal by the actor. I don't know what his name is. And then Sue Storm. And then Johnny Storm's sister, of course. And then I don't know what her name is in this movie, if it's Sue Richards. But whatever the case, they're going to have this baby. And it's Franklin, ends up being. And it is part of the whole setup here with Galactus. And then, of course, you have the Herald of Galactus. And yeah, great. All of it, 10 out of 10. Superbly done. Great movie. I do not recall the name of the director, but I will say 10 out of 10. Fantastic Four, first steps. And then, of course, this is a cartoon movie, similar vibe to The Incredibles. And that's, of course, the Disney Pixar movie. And the stakes are just about as high for that one as this one. So, yeah, it's a live-action cartoon. I see a lot of comparisons to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 90s. And I still think that Michael Chiklis, The Thing, is the best from the 90s, or rather the original Fox Fantastic Four series that they did. And I think that guy that played Reed Richards was pretty good, although this is the best version of Reed Richards that I've seen. Really good. And then, of course, Herbie the Robot. I do remember Herbie the Robot from the 80s. I think it was the Fantastic Four cartoon from the 80s. And that was the one I knew as a kid growing up. So, yeah, overall, Fantastic Four, first steps, good movie, 10 out of 10. I will compare this to the other Fantastic Four movies that have most recently been talked about, one of them being Fan Four Stick. which is one of the worst movies ever made. And I don't even know why. I don't know why that movie is so bad, but it's just bad. And, of course, the Fox series, and this is the one that I remember, is The Rise of the Silver Surfer. I think that was the name of it. And, or something that had to do with the Silver Surfer. And that was a really cool episode, shall I say. I'll call it that. But this one was pretty good. The Herald of Galactus, yeah, pretty well presented, written. And yeah, at first I was kind of skeptical of the switch up from Norrin Rad, but I was all in and I bought all of it. And great, I took it at its face. And I think they told you what Earth this was, Earth 587 or 857 or 785 or something like that. But it was one of these Earths. And this worked just fine. I thought it was great writing for what it is. This would be a movie that, just having seen it, I would say, yeah, it's a good comic book movie. And it feels like you're looking at a comic book. And the writing, the acting, the cast is good, great. Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. And then I don't know who the lady is, the actress that plays Sue Storm, but she is really good also. And I've seen her in a lot of other TV shows, as well as movies, and I just don't know what she's played, but she's in all kinds of stuff, and she's really good. I feel like she was in a TV series about the Queen of England. And, yeah, she played Sue Storm really good. And then this guy that played Johnny Storm, great. Yeah, holds up. And then again, the writing was kind of flat on him, though, I think, somewhat. Although, great character. He's always flying into harm's way on behalf of his family. Great. Boy, that's great writing. But between him and Ben Grimm, I think there should have been more of what is iconic and memorable between those two, such as the constant jabbing from Johnny towards Ben. And, of course, overall, I'd say the writing for Ben Grimm was pretty good, although somewhat flat between Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm. But, yeah, it was good. Interesting choices that they made with Ben Grimm to show his interaction with his town and community and where he grew up. And, again, the writing and the language used by the Herald and kind of the overall theme of all of humanity coming together, and that the Fantastic Four represents this kind of a hope, so to speak. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's uplifting. It is definitely a cartoon, and it's a highly stylized world and universe, but I believe the door is open to now, especially after the post-credits scene, the door is open to the MCU taking this in as their part of now the Fantastic Four. And I think that is what it leaves the door open to imagine. Great, and if that's how it's going to work out, super. I hope it's good. I do believe Jack Kirby would have approved. He would have approved of this movie. I do believe this. And I'm not a Jack Kirby expert or aficionado, but of all the interviews I've ever heard of Jack Kirby, and of everything I've ever seen he ever did, wrote, or drew, or came up with, I do believe he would approve of this movie. And then, of course, fittingly so, the credits attribute the Fantastic Four based on characters created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And yeah, no, it's a great movie. I highly recommend it. And I went to see this at the drive-in, of course, and it was $12 to get in the drive-in for a person. And I listened to the sound through the car stereo with the FM radio station, and then of course I believe the screen might have been 100 feet in front of me, and so you know what it's like to watch a movie on a drive-in screen. But yeah, it was nice. And then of course every now and then a bird would fly across the screen. So you'd see this shadow that goes across the screen, and then there was a slight rain, just a slight mist. So every now and then I'd turn the wiper on or start the car to defog the windows if they were getting slightly defogged or fogged up. But it was a great movie, and it's a great experience to be able to see a great movie at a drive-in. And yeah, I had popcorn, made my own popcorn that I popped in the microwave, and then I got some candy at the store and some water, certain kind of essence water that I had. And yeah, it was a great movie, and we really enjoyed it. And I wish that I had more good movies to go see at the drive-in. So the second feature on this was Freakier Friday, and I was not really feeling that one. So after the first movie, Fantastic Four, started at 8:20 with the ads, it must have got started about 8:35, and then we were done and out of there, and then still picking up the radio signal as we drove off. I'm going to say at least 7 miles down the road, the station started to cut out, and then it faded out from the credit music to the music in between that's played by some local musician. And so we knew when the credits ended, and it was going to be about 5 minutes before the next movie started, and I think that would have been about 10:20 is when it was scheduled to have started. So it was just under 2 hours, and it moved pretty quick. Yeah, great special effects. I think, this movie brings up a lot of other movies in thinking about them. One of the movies is Lost in Space, and that movie kind of got lost somewhere, but it's a great movie. I highly recommend it. But this movie has, the Fantastic Four, this new one, has a lot of special effects in it, and it's done with good, bright lighting. And that's what makes this movie different, is that you can see everything, and it doesn't look like it's so CGI'd out that it looks, you don't even see what's going on. The human brain can't even comprehend some of the stuff that we're seeing. Like the third act of Black Panther. There's no way humanly possible the human body can do that kind of stuff they've got these computers doing. And so the brain doesn't even see it. The brain doesn't even know what's going on. You can't even see what's happening because your brain can't believe it's seeing anything that's real, because there's no way the human body or the human brain can perceive any of that or do any of that. So, yeah, makes it really just a kind of a big waste of time to do all of that, because the audience can't tell what it is they're looking at, so they just zone out and they don't even realize it. But with this movie, there was a lot of good lighting and framing of the shot with the camera so that it would hold on a character for a while, a long time. And it's not just a bunch of junk being thrown around the screen. Although the final act did lay on pretty heavy with the special effects. But Human Torch looked great always. Invisible Woman, great at all times. Sue Storm. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, really didn't use a lot of his stretching power until the third act. But mostly you don't think about it because he's supposed to be the world's most intelligent person, smartest man on earth, so to speak. And, well, in one way, one of the smartest people on earth. And so this movie really showed that side of him and let you see that. And I feel like Jack Kirby would approve of this movie. And I do also believe that Stan Lee would have approved of this movie. This is a great movie. So I highly recommend it. Fantastic Four: First Steps. That's a good one. We'll see you at the movies.